Hey, this is Gary from 3Bug Media, and today we're going to talk about how to get more mileage out of your content strategy by updating content that you've already created. Now, if you're a blogger and you're trying to execute a content strategy for your business, you probably realize that creating content, promoting it is very difficult. It's time consuming. It can be draining to try to do, especially to keep it up consistently. So this strategy is going to involve just taking content you already have, fixing it up, and giving it new life. So it saves you the hassles of trying to create new content over and over again, because you probably got, if you've been doing it for any length of time, you probably have a treasure trove of content that you can go back and revisit and get more mileage out of. So why do you want to update content as opposed to creating new content? Well, number one, it's easier and faster to get the, to update content than it is to create new content. You're probably just fixing it up. You're maybe adding some sections, things like that, but you don't have to start from scratch. So it's definitely much faster than creating new content. Number two, it may be easier to rank for it. Now, you may have content that's sitting on the page 4 or 5 of Google, not really going anywhere. It's kind of stagnant, but it may have some benefits to it. Maybe it has a lot of, maybe at one time it has some social shares, maybe it even has a couple links to it. It's been there for a while. So chances are fixing that content up for that seasoned, content may be easier than trying to create something brand new and starting all over again for it, okay? And lastly, they may be good topics to update. Now, if you've been blogging for any period of time, one of the challenges is trying to continually come up with new ideas, new topics to write about, okay? Now, probably your first year or two, you probably have some really good topics because they were probably the ones that jumped out to you easily. They were probably important ones. You knew customers, cared about this stuff. But maybe when you created it a couple years ago, maybe you weren't that great of a writer, you weren't that great of a blogger, you didn't put that much time or effort into it, you didn't market it at all. So those are probably some great topics that maybe just weren't executed the best, and it gives you the opportunity to come back and revisit them. So when it comes to updating our content, number one is update outdated content. So if there's anything timely in there, maybe years, dates, things like that to really show its age, go in and take those out. Maybe update them for today, or even better yet, make them evergreen. Make that content so it doesn't matter if somebody reads it today, they read it from 2 years from now, it's still going to be highly relevant to them. So go through your posts, make sure there's anything dated in there, update them. Maybe things have changed since the last time you've written them, or rules have changed, things like that. Go in and update that stuff and freshen that up. Number two is add more text and details to it. Maybe when you created that content, you shot through it really quick. It was just a general overview. Maybe it was only 400 or 500 words. Now you can go back, spend a little more time, get into more detail, maybe transform that into an 800 or 1200 or 1500 word blog article. And now you're going into more depth. You're segmenting the content a little more. You're getting more specific about certain things. Maybe you're adding new things that, have occurred since you originally, created the content, things like that. So add more to it. Another thing you can do is make it more dynamic by adding video to it. Adding some YouTube videos, embedding a YouTube video in there, creating some graphics, quotes, adding quotes. People love quotes. People love statistics. Do a little bit of research about your industry and add some statistics in there. Add some, relevant quotes and things like that. Anything to enrich the content. Google likes dynamic content. So if you just create a blog post, 800 word blog post with no pictures, nothing in it, much less engaging than if you had one where you had a video embedded in it, you had quotes, you had pull quotes, you had statistics in there, you had some cool graphics that either you found online, you purchased, or you created yourself. Anything to make it more dynamic. The search engines like that kind of content. And lastly, market it as if it's brand new. Maybe hopefully your marketing skills are better than they were when you originally created this older content. So treat it like it's brand new, give it a marketing plan, go in social media, push in social media, maybe boost a post on Facebook, email it to your customer list, things like that. Treat it like it's brand new content, give it a new marketing plan, give it a good push, and you may find that you'll be able to push the content that's been languishing, not doing anything for you, up to page 1 in Google. Now, when you're doing this, is one super important thing to keep in mind. When you update content, sometimes people, well, should I just update the content or should I republish it like with today's date? to make it look new. I've done both. None of them, and I'll tell you from experience, none of them had any kind of negative impact. Some posts I updated. If I only made some quick updates and I didn't really revamp the whole post, I'll just click update, leave the date, because some of these posts are 3-4 years old. If it's something where I added a lot more information, I really gave it a new refresh, a lot of times I'll change the date and I'll publish it as new. But one thing super important to remember is do not change the URL of that page. The URL is, yourwebsite.com/name a blog post. Do not change it, even in the slightest. Even if you change one character in there, it's treated as a brand new blog post, and you lost all of the history, all of the social shares, any links, any kind of history you had with that post is gone on there. So the one thing that you do, update all the content, do not change the URL. It will be treated as a brand new blog post if you change it in the slightest. And if that's a post where maybe you were getting some traffic for it, you'll lose all of it. Okay, so super important, do not change the URL when you're doing all these updates. Okay, so quick tip, go back, look through your archives. I'm sure there's a lot of gems in there where you can fix them up. And if you have any questions, you go through bugmedia.com, and thank you very much. Have a good day.